Hi everybody and welcome to the Hex Token channel. Woohoo! Another live stream, and of course had a rest yesterday. Was on movie night, and here we are back again on, of course, hex.com. We're going to check out a lot of stuff, so let's get into it. Audio sounds pretty good, so welcome everybody. Get into the chat, of course, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you want to join as a Hex Token channel member, that's open now. So we've got PulseKins, Hexkins, and the Richard Hart Club. And I just want to do a big shout out to the first members, of course, SKB, Aspire, Art, and SH256 is the latest member. So welcome to all those members to the channels, and very, very cool. I do appreciate the support. Very cool. Let's get into it, of course, and here we go. So here we are on hex.com. We're going to cover a couple of topics today in particular. So we're obviously going to talk about the Hex chart price and do analysis on that. We're also going to look at PulseX Sacrifice and yield farming Pumpamentals, and of course a lot more around PulseChain and some of the other social developments that are happening with the 5555 tour in the United States. And of course they're going to be in Miami, and that's going to be huge, I think, pretty big one. And of course lots of Hex OGs down there as well, and so it's going to be a bit of fun. Also a lot of NFL stars coming into the space in the Hex as well, so it's pretty exciting to see. So we're going to check up a little bit of that out as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's going to be a bit of fun. We got Brownies in the house, woohoo, in early. Hey, good to see you, Brownies, and you are in early, so well done on that. Very nice. All right, let's quickly check out hex.com. Let's go. And of course, we're going to jump over to the Hex price at the moment. Here is the weekly chart on the USDC Hex, and it's on version 3. And we've got the weekly chart. So we've got nice two big green candles at the moment, and some decent volume last week, and this week starting to warm up, of course. Very, very nice. And you can see, go back, this chart only goes back to May 21, but you can see we've got nice two green candles forming after having obviously the price reduced at that time. And before that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of green when we were rising up to that all-time high of around 56, 57 cents, depending on what you look at as well with the old bot. So very, very nice. Let's jump over to the daily, of course, and check out some of that. Get into the chat, folks. Definitely looking forward to that in the chat. So here we are on the daily, and looking pretty healthy there, 23.1 cents, and we've got a nice uptrend on the daily. Very, very cool. Up towards the top of the Bollinger Bands as well. We're still staying up there. Just come off a little bit. Now, typically when you hit the Bollinger Bands, you're not up there for more than typically 4 or 5 days. But of course, Hex can do all sorts of magical things. And yeah, you see the last one was up 3 days and take a little bit of a reprieve, and still up in the top end of the Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Band is widening, and so that gives a good chance of that momentum continuing higher. Obviously, we had the low down here around about 12 cents, and we are still got a higher here, or higher low, I should say, and it's still got nice angulation there. So we're going to check out the hourly in particular. So very, very cool. So far today, of course, we've had a low of 21 cents, a high of 25, and that hitting at 25 is pretty important. We want to be in that 25, 28 cents little range for a little bit, and then we want to power over 28 cents and get rid of the downtrend once and for all. We've already beaten the short-term downtrend, but we want to beat that basically downtrend once and for all. Getting over 28 cents is the sign for that. Very cool. And getting to 25 cents earlier was pretty teasing us there, but we're still looking very good, in good shape for attacking that 27, 28 range. So very nice on there. Let's go pull up the charts. Let's check out the CCI index. CCI index bounced back. Now I said it would. I said that would be. I said it'd come down and would be a bounce back. Has bounced back. Obviously, I didn't do the live stream yesterday. If I'd said it yesterday, probably would have been on a down still. But I did say expected that to bounce back. It has, and we're back at 135, looking really good as well. So if we scroll that up a bit more in terms of getting more dates, let me just get rid of the old banner there, and I'll just hide that while we're doing that so you can see the dates there, and go back to the comments. Nice. Don't forget to get in the chat, folks. We love a hot chat. Get in there. It's going to be pretty fun as well. So nice. Now we've got a bit of news about the old PulseSwap as well, so we're going to talk about that during this live stream. We've got lots of cool stuff coming up as for sure during this live stream. So here we are. So that's we're looking much better there on the daily, on the CCI, looking good, and really in good territory. Really, let's have a look at the MACD. MACD, look at that buy signal, really in the positive space now, well and truly up there now. but 0.0085, very cool. And as we saw in our previous peak, we got up to 0.0726, so a long way higher than that. So very, very cool. So what's that? Maybe about 8 to 10x from here potentially. The volumes are still rising up there, and hopefully we'll get a nice little volume candle today to shift that up. But looking very cool on there. And let's have a look at the RSI, which is very popular. And look at that, looking good too. And not even up to 70 yet. We've got plenty of room to go. We were previously, a high was 94, and we're currently at 65 and looking pretty good here as well. So all the TAs looking good. And let's have a look at the EFI. EFI is still looking pretty positive there as well, in positive territory. There is 0. And of course, here we are up at 75,000. And previously our high up here was 580,000. So a long way to go potentially for there. Very cool. And let's have a look at the volume oscillator. Certainly up in the positive territory there, up at 10. And of course, we've been up at 45 and 85. So 10 is pretty good in that good range. So plenty of room to move to. And let's finally look at the DMI. Everyone loves the DMI. I love it. And of course, we've got the buyers came back and started meeting the sellers there in the middle after a breakout there. But the buyers have parted ways, and the sellers have gone down there. Pretty nice. So cool. We did see earlier today in the daily update vid, we saw quite a few good buys in the house. We've had a little bit selling since then, but we had quite a few good stakes as well happening. So lots of interesting stuff. Some of the interesting stuff was, of course, getting a few more short-term stakes, possibly people just staking a bit longer with some pretty big bags, potentially ready to sacrifice that for the PulseX sacrifice. That is starting to gain momentum. I think people are starting to get their heads around the valuation. That's going to be a pretty epic valuation for PulseX. And of course, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars come into yield farming. And of course, this is not like any other. This is going to be the biggest airdrop with PulseChain. Of course, people are going to get half the tokens. They're going to be able to put those in a pool and have really offset that impermanent loss risk that you normally have if you had 2 pairs that you're putting in. And you know, people bridge over from the bridge over tokens from say ERC20s and match those pairs up. So it could be extremely lucrative, not only with the fees that will be on the Pulse on the Uniswap, but on the PulseX, but with the PulseX token itself as the extra incentive, and lots of other possible pools as well. We're going to talk more about that later in the video about the yield farming benefits. So looking really good on there. So everything looks good, chart looks good, and time is ticking. And so we're going to check that out too on the time. Let's go back into the hourly though first as we go. Let's go. Crypto by Night's in the house. Early bird catches the green candle, Brownie. Says Crypto by Night. Nice one. I like that one. And looking good, says D-Hex again. It is looking good, D-Hex. And good to see in the chat as usual. And Mark Cagnito's in the house. Woohoo! Yeah, definitely good. And Real Billionaire Boy says, woke up to support the channel. Let's go, man. 14,000x on PulseChain before 6 months. Yeah, that's the, if you haven't seen Richard's video, 14,000x is what he was talking about. So pretty huge Pumpamentals, folks. And I think those who hold and don't trade as much during the early phase, unless there's a major pullback, and that gives a buying opportunity. If that does occur, then there's definitely opportunity to pick up more bags. But those who tend to hold tend to do way better, especially you know, a year and a half in, something like that. So it's going to be interesting to watch that play out as well. So we have got the bigger crypto market in play, but you know, Richard's Pumpamentals help to really protect a lot of that stuff as well. So nice. 500x in 90 days on PulseX. I like that. That sounds pretty awesome. All right, so that's the daily, and let's pull in the old structure. There we are. There's the old structure there coming up. And as I said, we've really beaten out the short-term bullish breakout line. Now, if we had a more angularized line here coming in, you'd be able to see that. But of course, I'm far more bullish. I'm simplifying the chart because I think the fact is we just need to get over that 28 cents, and then we're beaten. Going to get a higher high at the moment. So at the moment, obviously, these are lower highs. This one here is still a lower high than that one, but it's a higher high than it compared to this one. So we have really got that turning point in play. And once we get 28 cents, we're up and away. And that could happen any day now, like today, tomorrow. Really could start to, we could get a nice big green candles, just like we had back here, 2 nice big green candles. could have that up here as well. You do obviously, as your price goes up, you need a little bit more economic energy, but we know that there's less in the pool, so definitely get that in play as well. Obviously today I said we are just trying to move up to here. We haven't got that many days, so this is my timeline, the 27th, but obviously got till the 31st. Richard said on at least 4 occasions that's when we could have you know, the PulseChain sacrifice start. And so if we go into here just to the 27th, that's only 6 days left, and I think it's probably going to be sooner than later rather than right at the end of the year on the 21st. So you know, so we've got 6 to 10 days left to go there, and time is ticking. If it's on the earlier side, we haven't really got that long. We could see some massive green candles here, break past at 28 cents, which is what I'm expecting. So my weekly forecast that I did about 8 days ago, unfortunately I'm a little bit behind on the weekly price prediction video, is still well intact as it's moving up pretty nicely actually. It was front running, as I said earlier. That looks like it's on target there as well. So looking good for that. Now, what does that mean? Of course, we've got PulseChain and testnet in play. We're going to look at that a bit later. And of course, a version to possibly testnet 2 and possibly a testnet 3, which I think is probably going to be in play. We just need a little bit more information around that. All right, so cool. Obviously, I've shifted the earliest date at the moment to about the 15th of January for the PulseChain launch. But once again, if we do have that PulseChain testnet 3.0 and testnet 2.0 is a bit longer, then we will end up being shifted out towards the end of January and even potentially into the early February. So we'll just have to be pragmatic about the testing and make sure everything's ducks in a row. We want everything to be hunky-dory, because obviously a lot of money is going into it, and we want that risk off for that. Brownie says, I can't see Hex up 80% by December, end of December. So that's what Brownie says. Hey, never count out Hex, that's for sure. That's what I've learned to see. So, all right, so there we are, folks. Let's jump over to Pulse Lead. We're going to jump over to Pulse Lead, and we're going to get just a bit of a refresher, of course. We had all these big whales come in. They are still around. And, of course, a lot of people are actually forgetting they even sacrificed for the PulseChain. But once again, this is what we're going to expect to see, some big money coming in for PulseX sacrifice. So that's going to be pretty exciting. And then, of course, we've got the first, obviously, getting in earlier is obviously paid off, and I expect a lot of that gamification to stay in place. How long it will be is another question. I think it might be shorter than 19 days is my expectation. So it all depends on how the PulseChain testnet and also the minimum viable product components are going. And in Richard's mind is my guess, but I expect still expect it to come out before the end of the year. So earlier is going to pretty much be better. There are a lot more people are starting to get interested in obviously sacrificing for PulseX. And also we did a poll on this channel, of course. We got hundreds of votes on there, and 50% were saying that they want to sacrifice their Hex for, I think it was actually 53% now, want to sacrifice their Hex, liquid Hex for PulseX. So you can see the excitement, the people understanding the potential value upside. And of course, it's going to be bigger than anything else because of the fact that PulseChain is going to be the biggest airdrop in history, as well as the biggest yield farming in history. And of course, it could dwarf, you know, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, and all those other big ones that have done pretty well. Looking pretty exciting to me. All right, so that, folks, is the way it's going. So if you're looking at doing the PulseX sacrifice, this is what we had at the PulseChain sacrifice. And then we went into, of course, the pulse.info, and we should have probably pulsex.info. Probably be the site that's going to have this. You basically connect your wallet up, select the network and the tokens, and then you can send your sacrifice to those addresses. So typically the ETH will be this an address and so forth. So we're waiting to see what that is, and that's going to be coming up before the end of the year. So make sure you get pretty much Hex is probably the best play. Obviously the Hex is I think the fork will be the same as PulseChain. The fork will be after the sacrifice. That way more Hex is taken off the market, as opposed to you being able to get a snapshot off for PulseChain and get that Hex on the PulseChain side, and then be able to sacrifice your Hex on the ETH side. that I don't think that's going to play, because once again, it's about reducing the circulating supply. So basically, that Hex will be sacrificed and go to the the Origin or Genesis account, whatever you want to call it, and that will be controlled and taken off the market effectively, as the Genesis slash Origin account basically acts as the monetary Federal Reserve that controls the money, sort of the supply and the returns and the ecosystems respectively for Hex, ultimately PulseChain and potentially PulseX as well. So that's probably the way I'd see that. Crypto Bonite says a lot of brownies said he can see Hex up 80%, not can't. Oh, sorry. Oh, I can see Hex. Sorry, I missed that one, Brownie. Do apologize. Thanks, Crypto Bonite. Yeah, I probably saw that a little bit quickly. Crypto Bonite says either way, we're heading up, and away. And Dr. says, yeah, I was a little surprised there, Brownie, when I saw it, so I was probably focusing on something else. Dr. Sergio says, hey, Hex Token. Very cool. I probably need a drink of water, to be honest. So cheers, everybody. Brownie's got the bags up. Yeah. All right, sometimes you can slip up there, so there's a bit of a slip up there on my part. Apologize. All right, so this is basically what you can expect for the Pulse Sacrifice. I think Hex is pretty much going to be #1. If you saw my video 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? Can't remember now. Talking about the sacrifice, what tokens were sacrificed, the strategic options, of course. The one thing I didn't talk about in that video, of course, was the biggest airdrop in history is going to be in there, and I don't think I had that in the pools, not explicitly as I should have, but that's definitely in play as well. You're going to be able to get 50% of whatever pair that you're going to have is going to be airdrop, so you're going to be able to use that as well. And if you're in a PulseChain Sacrifice, you could end up with a free both tokens free to go into yield farming and the pool as well. So that's pretty awesome stuff. It really Pumpamentals is amazing, really are. All right, so very cool. That is the way that goes. So that's just really for people that are looking at Pulse Sacrifice and PulseX. And as we said, so do check out that other video on the sacrifice if you want to get more details. So obviously this is what Richard gave us 22 hours ago. I did a quick video on this when it came out, an hour after it came out, and I got that out to you guys real fast. That was before I went to sleep, of course, so I didn't talk too much about it. But here we are. We're going to have a look at some of this stuff. So some PulseX game theory that will blow your mind. PulseX.com has around 1 million extra supply of Ethereum. Remember, Ethereum has about 118 million Ethereum. Of course, it's got a bit of burning going on now with the London fork since we've had that. So it's got 1 million supply. Remember, the PulseChain's Pulse supply is going to be upwards of around about 150 trillion, and of course that will potentially include maybe about 6% for the AAM bot that's going to go do the harvesting of the PRC20 tokens and adjust the ratios and secure the liquidity and the Pumpamentals for the PulseX chain. So that's going to be amazing to see that run. And then we really can't have it. The price is going to start from zero, but we really can't have a price of zero in these liquidity pools. So we know that the price is up from zero, and of course it's going to be pretty fascinating to see what all the people with the PRC, these are people that have liquidity pools already on Ethereum, what they do in terms of they'll get compensated with all this pulse to once the ratios are adjusted and harvesting is finished, and then whether they buy back a lot of their PRC20 tokens, which I imagine quite a few will. It's going to be interesting to see the whole play. It's going to be an amazing day. There's going to be no day like this on the scale that this is at, and so it really is going to be mind-boggling what's going to go on at the launch of PulseChain and PulseSwap. Really will be out of this world. Dr. Caesar says, is it right that 3 events are left that could increase the Hex price? I'm talking about PulseX Sacrifice, true. PulseChain release date, yes. And PulseChain release itself, yes. I agree with that, itself, yeah, and himself, yeah. Definitely, yeah. I agree with that. Sacrifice, PulseChain release date, and the PulseChain release itself. Yeah, I would also say that potentially the first day in the early days as well. So I guess you could put that in the PulseChain release itself. Definitely is in play. And don't forget, Richard has a bigger roadmap in mind and ahead. So that's definitely coming into play as well. So just take that into account. Some of the things beyond, I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but some of the things ahead in the roadmap are pretty huge. So we might talk about that a bit later. Richard's got a lot more on the roadmap coming up for us. So it's pretty fun to be on this magic carpet ride, as Richard calls it. It's going to be pretty exciting for sure. All right, so some good comments there, Dr. Sergio. And let's get into this. So this is one here, has around 1 million X supply, Ethereum has, and it has the ratios in the Uniswap liquidity pools need fixed by a bot at launch. It will buy $100 million of USDC for $2,500 worth of PLS. That's obviously based on the sacrifice points, where 10,000 points was $1, and that's how he's worked out that ratio somehow from there. So not completely clear on that, but that's what this part of the ledger is. This is just one pair on version 2. Version 3 has more liquidity. Note that this USDC is on the PulseChain, and no one knows what its value will be yet. So obviously it's going to be pretty fractionalized, possibly down to 0. And so we'll see what the market says it's worth. I happen to think that it probably will get perceived to be maybe start off as a fraction of $1 and then get up to $1. Is probably the way it will be. That's just human behavior, but we'll see how that works as well. And obviously, no one knows what its value will be yet. The point is the ratio fixer bot is going to be very rich in the coins it harvests, obviously swapping over, minting basically Pulse tokens, and that's part of that. Maybe 5-6% of the total supply will be minted from the bot. Originally, people thought about 3%, but it's probably going to be much larger than that. So we'll see. Remember, the total supply is going to be around about 150, maybe 140, 150 trillion Pulse tokens, and that includes the Genesis account as well. All right, so the point is the ratio bot is going to be very rich in the coins it harvests at launch. It deposits them in PulseX.com. So we're going to explore that a bit further as well. So PulseX, obviously, which was formerly called PulseSwap, is pretty much a fork of a PancakeSwap. So we're going to check that out too during this live stream. So hopefully it'll be a bit fun. Dr. says it is already it's already clear how much Pulse you will get when you sacrificed it when the sacrifice was open. Is it already clear how much Pulse you will get when you sacrificed it, when the sacrifice phase was open? Yeah, well, we already have some draft numbers, but we're waiting for more like a preliminary or final distribution in the CSV file. So people didn't get what they expected. I looked at the numbers; it seemed to be pretty close to what I expected, and so yeah, we'll wait for that final file, Sergio. But I think we have a pretty good indication. All right, V3 has more liquidity. Note that this USD, I think I read that one, haven't I? Oh, no, I haven't yet. Note that the USDC is on the PulseChain. Yes, I've already read that one. Cool. Then we got Pulse.com launches at the vastly most liquid trading system for PRC20s. Combine that with ERC20s bridged in, so people that will bridge in their ERC20s to make liquidity pairs in there, and paired with their free PRC20 copies backing. So this is huge, eh? This free stuff is just, it's mind-boggling. You think of the scale of value creation, it really is impressive. Backed by PRC20 value and rewarded with PLS tokens. So we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see a lot of that. And I know that the bridge that was tested by Ruth was already doing, I think, ETH and PLS. So no doubt it will have stable coins and maybe a few others. So that's going to be interesting as well. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of value just on, in absolute terms, just on the Pulse chain itself, because obviously people will have Pulse, people will have their PRC20 tokens, and obviously the bot will run through, and then so people can do a lot of economic activity even without the bridge, but the bridge will definitely able to bring injections of capital from other peers, and of course the AMM bot's going to bind those peers anyway, so implicitly on an absolute basis there'll be a tradable value. It's going to be impressive, man. This is really quite mind-blowing. Liquidity bonds the prices of ERC20s and PRCs together, and that's the big part there. So that's pretty huge, so very exciting. Now this is pretty interesting. Now when I did my video earlier today, an hour after this came back, I really rushed this part a bit late because it was quite late when I did it, and I was turning in for the night. A percentage of fees caused buybacks and burns. All right, so a percentage of the fees cause buybacks of PulseX and burns of PulseX. So we talked about the deflationary side. Here is the deflationary side. So very cool. It looks like a play on the value of all PRC20s in Uniswap, and with liquidity bonding PRC20s and ERC20s prices together, a play on the value of all ERC20s in Uniswap and similar, like SushiSwap and Bancor. So those are the two big plays there. Very impressive, and that should really help with the value of it as well. By the way, the estimate of 2,500 of PLS isn't really accurate because it uses 10,000 PLS per dollar to guesstimate the value. And that's really, you're taking a sacrifice cost value to determine that. Of course, we really don't know what the value is. So that's why I was, a little bit, when you talk about the 100 million for 2,500, it's just a bit of a sky in the pie number. But we'll see what it actually is on the day. And I think we're going to be impressed with what the actual valuation will end up being. But no one really knows the value as PLS launches at 0. But I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see it. Hey, Dr. says, hey, you're the best. Hey, appreciate that. And right back at you there. Absolutely loving the community. Hey, by the way, a big achievement, of course. We went over 1,700 subs today. And I think increased by about 75 subs today, which is a record on this channel. So a big shout out to all the new subscribers to this channel. Do appreciate that. Big shout out to you all. Obviously, onwards up towards 1,800 now. So it really is exciting. And I love obviously talking about Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX, and all the other things that are coming up in the future. It's going to be really exciting. And my style is really just to try and get to the point and get as many insights and value adds as possible out there as well. So not so much as entertainment channel, some of the other Hexkins and PulseKins out there, but I just like to get straight to the numbers, as you know. So very, very cool. Big shout out, of course, to the 4 first members as well of the Hex Token channel. We've got SKB, Aspire, Art, and the new one today, SH256, which looks like Shards. Was it Shard 2.256? So pretty nice on that. All right, so back to the tweets, of course. This is looking pretty cool there, so just take those numbers into account. And of course, PulseX bot empties nearly all ERC20 copies, PRC20s from all the liquidity providers like Uniswap at launch, adds them to PulseX.com liquidity, so secures that in, locks in that value so that people can buy and sell. And of course, that's so cool. PLSX, and it also creates that value. PLSX coin holders profit a percentage on trading fees on PulseX. So we're waiting to kind of see what that is. Probably be somewhere between 0.1 and 0.3% is my guess. So we're looking to see that maybe 0.2, 0.3% is my guess, somewhere around that mark. So just taking a guess there. Also, PulseX bot empties. Oh, I think that's a double repeat there. Very, very cool. So that was that. And then, of course, we came up to, actually, we had the vote, of course, Hex on Pulse, more valuable, Hex on Ethereum, and Hex on PulseChain was a clear winner there, something like 75% or something like that was on there. And we've had how many votes on that? 8,500 votes on that. It's crazy good. So very, very nice as well. So we're going up here. Now, we're going to talk about this soon, this accredited investor. So we'll get all the stuff later. We're going to jump over to PancakeSwap. We'll get onto that. So Search says, do you know the YouTuber Crash Trading? His predictions are insane. No, I don't know that one. I'll definitely check that out, Dr. Sergio. Thanks for the heads up on that. We'll check that one out. Ahmed's in the house. Hello from Dubai. Hey, good to see you, Ahmed, and from Dubai. So Dubai is a beautiful place, beautiful city. And I know they have a lot of crypto conferences there. So big shout out to you, Ahmed. Hope you're enjoying yourself out there. Rune Skies is in the house. Hey, Rune Skies. Hey, good to see you. Hey, hit the likes, everyone. Hey, definitely subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you want to become a channel member, of course, hit that join button. We've got PulseKins, Hexkins, and the Richard Hart Club. So you can get in there and help support the channel as we promote all those projects. Rune Skies is, I see you all over the place, Rune Skies. And so a big shout out to you. You're very, very active in the community, so it's pretty cool. D Hexkin says, reckon you'll have a 0.08 buyback and burn. That'd be a pretty good number there, actually, D Hexkin. So look forward to that. We'll probably get a lot more details around that burn, but that was the first indicator, first tweet that I recall him talking about an actual deflationary side, which we were talking about, that we were waiting for that. So we're waiting for the gamification. We think it's going to be similar to PulseChain for the sacrifice, and then of course the tokenomics for PulseX, which is a fork of PancakeSwap. So that's why we're on PancakeSwap now, and it's really got asked quite a few questions about how this all works with yield farming and stuff like that. So this is PancakeSwap. And basically, you can basically exchange on it. So you can hit the exchange. But before we get into the details here, we're just going to do a quick overview of PancakeSwap. And of course, Pancake is the token for the platform. And of course, here's some key stats: used by millions, trusted with billions. And so, could you imagine how successful PancakeSwap's been? Imagine how successful PulseX is going to be with the full system state copy of Ethereum. It takes a lot to get in. You're trying to take that all in, but it really is mind-boggling what Richard Hart is setting up here. Really is, and he's the first one to do it. Now, the only way you could do this successfully is by having a big community, and of course, Richard has that following, first through Hex Foundation, now through all the Pulsicans, and Pulsicans made up of people from across the board and many different projects. So very cool. And yesterday we saw on Richard Hart's tweets about people outreaching in the RC20 communities. So really is this continuing to build steam, and it's mind-boggling. So used by millions. So in the last 30 days, PancakeSwap was used by 2.8 million users, and 31 million trades in the last 30 days, 12 billion staked. So you can see that if this is that successful, imagine how amazing the potential is for PulseX. Is this mind-boggling? And Richard's trying to get those tokenomics right. Obviously, there's a valuation up front, and of course, the people that come in with all their funds into the yield farming, getting that incentive right for them as well. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that. I think there's going to be huge speculation run up in price. Typical volatility at first as the market tries to find a price after the bots does the setups. But it's going to be crazy good. Really is going to be mind-boggling. So I thought these numbers were pretty interesting from PancakeSwap. Very cool. You can trade anything, no registration, no hassle, which is cool. Obviously, you can just hook up your wallet there. You can also earn passive income with crypto. PancakeSwap makes it easy to make crypto for you, which is the same thing as obviously PulseX is going to be doing. And there's obviously lots of prizes on this particular platform, so it's going to be interesting to see these extras and how they run as well. Kate makes our word go round. Very cool. And of course, total supply 250 million is total supply burned to date, 318. So we obviously saw that indicator from Richard about the burn there. So we'll just go back to that. We were back here. So a percentage of the fees caused buyback and burns. So we can see that they're obviously burning 318 million there. Very cool. And market cap 3 billion. Current emission blocks 14.25 per block. So that's what's coming out there. Interesting. Very cool. So that's all the key stuff there. Obviously got lots of other stuff on here, but that was pretty cool. And I thought that was pretty neat. So this is really a quick overview for people not too familiar with yield farming. So we're going to go through that, and of course, trying to get our heads around just the base value for PulseX. I think because it's going to be a much bigger scale with every single copy of Ethereum tokens, and of course the Uniswap pools and all that sort of stuff coming over. It's going to be really crazy. Jeremiah from says hello from Kenya, Africa. Hey Jeremiah, great to see you. And yeah, Kenya is a pretty beautiful place as well. So big shout out. Rooch guy says, cheers, mate. Got to show up when I can for the community. Absolutely, Runes guys. And I always chuckle to myself when I see you in the chats, but you're always doing some awesome stuff. And Brownie says, Hex, the global currency of the future. That's right. So, Richard Hart's looking at world domination with these tokens, and not just the tokens, but the ecosystem. And that's the one thing we've got to understand is that he's building out, not only he's got a roadmap, building out, a dominant crypto valuation, all focused around value. So it really is going to be mind-blowing. Remember, pullbacks are always in the game, as Richard says, and obviously Hex has had about 9 of those so far by my account, so pretty cool. Rich guy says, I wonder if PancakeSwap is deflationary, or is that a new game theory we've added? No, so as I said, they do have deflation in there, as we've seen the coins tokens get burned. So let's have a look here. We've got the exchange, of course. You can trade an exchange, so we're used to that on Uniswap, obviously, and you can do, swap the tokens. You can just select tokens, connect your wallet up. We've got the price of Pancake at the moment, $12 for a cake at the moment, so very cool. And you can swap for cake there with BNB, and obviously principally the Binance Smart Chain. And of course, you got the trade there. You can also add liquidity, so you can either add it from here, liquidity. So obviously, when you're swapping peers, there needs to be funds on both sides. So you need, put BNB on one side and cake on the other side, and you need investors to put that stuff in. So the way they do that is they do it through the liquidity pool, and that's what happens. You get the liquidity pools. I'm not sure. Yeah, hopefully this comes up, renders well. and I just didn't do it last time I did, so let me just get rid of that. So you got the liquidity. You can add liquidity here as well, and you just select the pairs that you want to do. So you could do BNB, and you could do cake, for example, and you've got the cake per BNB, BNB per cake, and then obviously depending on how much you put in there, let's put in 10 BNB, for example. That's going to get us just less than 0.001% of the pool there. You connect your wallet, and by adding liquidity, you'll earn 0.17%. So this is what the earning is on PancakeSwap. That's why I said on PulseX, it might be somewhere like 0.2, 0.3. On Uniswap, it's 0.3 from memory. So that's what you potentially earn on all trades in this pair. So this is excluding getting the yield farming side of it. It's just putting in the pools. This is the return that you would get, and of course, pretty cool. Fees are added to the pool, accrued in real time, and can be claimed by withdrawing your liquidity. So very cool. So once you do that, of course, you're going to, by adding liquidity, you receive LP tokens or liquidity provider tokens. Okay, so once you put in, if you put in these two values here, they're locked in the pool, and they're going to be traded by people bought and sold as through the trade part, the exchange part, and of course, by the time you actually pull out those liquidity, the ratios are going to be different, and you could also suffer a thing called permanent loss if one token in particular goes down. For example, the whole market goes down, you obviously get US dollar loss. That's called impermanent loss. You can also get impermanent gain as well. It's a bit like capital. Think about capital gain and or loss. So that's just one thing to take into account when you do yield farming. Obviously, with the PulseChain and PulseX, people are getting free airdrops. So for people that are initially coming in, they're going to have airdrops. Particularly, they could have both tokens free, and so that's not really too much of an issue. Obviously, subject to the price and the initial starting value, but it's when you're getting something free, it's a lot more, lot less of the case. Of course, you've got to sacrifice value when you put that in for PulseChain, so you've got to take in some account of that. But pretty amazing stuff there. So that's what happens. Once you put in this, of course, you get that locked in. You're part of the pool. People are trading your tokens that you put in as well as everybody else. And in return, you're going to get LP tokens, liquidity provider tokens, and that's what you're going to use for the yield farming. That's what you're going to get, an extra incentive. So you get a basic incentive, which is the basic 0.17% fee that gets added into your pool. But the real big incentive is going to the yield farming and taking the LPs that you got. So the LP tokens represent the mathematical representation of your tokens that you put in at the time that you put them in, at the value that they put them in at the time. So that's what they kind of represent. And the LP tokens pretty much have a price to them. And of course, you take those LP, and then you can actually go and put them into the yield farms here. So you can go to the farms, and this is the yield farms. This is where you put your LP tokens. And so let's assume that we put in Cake BNB. We can hit on the Cake BNB here. And if we had tokens, we connect, we would actually read it. So you can, if you don't have tokens, LP tokens, then you can go and actually go to the Cake BNB, which we were just at. We were just at that, and that's where that will take you to where we were just then. Connect, and of course you can put your tokens in, and the APR on a Cake BNB at the moment is 46.72%, and the liquidity in there is 287 million at the moment at the time. So that's pretty cool. And of course your LP tokens get locked in there, and then you can withdraw them as well. So you can withdraw them, and once you withdraw them, you can then go back to the pool and take your stuff out of the pool. You can withdraw out of the pool, but you have to take the LP tokens back out of the yield farming because it gets locked in there in smart contract basically. So take that into account. And of course they've got this multiplier in there. So cool. The total value of funds in this farm liquidity pool, 287 million. So you can see some of the upside of, imagine Pulse pairs, Pulse and Hex or something like that. You're going to see massive liquidity pools for that. Really is going to be pretty exciting to see that expand in value. And you're talking hundreds and hundreds of millions. Of course, Ethereum, this is an even bigger scale. This is all the pairs, potentially thousands of pairs, potentially that will get valued up. And so you can see it just exploding into the billions. Really is mind-boggling. Dr. CJ says a big green candle live on Hex. Let's have a look, jump back to that. All right, so cool. Let's actually go back out of there, and we'll just go into the day, into the hourly here. Bam. Oh yeah, there we are. So nice. So looking very cool. We've actually got this. I actually hadn't finished talking about the chart, but there we were. We've got this nice little uptrend here with the baseline. So it's really looking positive. And of course, here's our previous highs, and we've already breached that. So we look like we're just going up. We just look like we're just going up. That's that's it for the moment. That looks really good. So very cool. Hey, big shout out to you, Dr. CJ, for pointing that out. Ahmed says one of the best live streams. Hey, Ahmed, appreciate that. Big shout out to you for that. And big beginning to really love this channel. Says Cal5555. Hey, I do appreciate. I love the community. The community is so positive. That's the good thing about Hex skins, Pulse skins, and all that. So it's such a mature audience and really people that love learning. You know, we all love learning. Always, and it's not just about the end game, which we all want, you know, to pump the bags, as it were, but we also want to have a good journey as well. The journey on the way is just as important. That learning, the community, and all the really good stuff around that. So nice to see you, Cal. 5555. I like that name. NG says, great channel. You always energize people with your videos. I appreciate the energy. You got energy is your name, energy. That's pretty cool. I like that. Idea file, jump on and subscribe, people. It's but a single click and appropriate knowledgeable is a great information provided free of charge. Idea file, appreciate that. And also another cool name. Brownie says, smack the thumbs up and clicking the subscribe pumps the channel and helps pump your bags. Yeah, I like that. That's true. Yeah, so there's lots of obviously Hexkins, Pulsekins, and we PulseXkins out there, you know, promoting all these projects, and everybody in the community can do that just by telling a friend, telling a family member, telling a stranger, and just introducing to the awesomeness that's about to happen. Really is cool. Obviously, Hex has done amazing, and PulseChain Sacrifice was epic, and PulseX is the next opportunity. As those three are the big trifecta. Of course, there is a quadfecta of tokens with PHEX, EHEX, Pulse, and PLSX or PLX, as it might be called. So very cool. Hex is the way. Thanks for the stream. Hey, appreciate that too. Yeah, don't forget subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course, and that's the way to go. So yeah, price looking good, and man, oh man, it's looking really pumpamental here. Getting that nice uptrend, beating out the previous high, and look how we're going to go to another high here. Once we get into this 25 to 28 cent range, that's really strong, and then break out of that 28. That's what we want. That's what we want, folks. And the chart's looking pretty positive for that. We might get some whales that help us along there. We really haven't seen too many plays. There's been a couple of decent sized accounts make moves, either buying or selling, but we're waiting for some bigger plays from some of the bigger whales out there just to help us along on the merry way. So very cool. All right, so let's get back to the yield farming here. So pretty cool on that. And of course, they've got this multiplier, represents a proportion of cake rewards each farm receives as a proportion of the cake produced each block. For example, if 1x farm received a 1 cake per block, a 40x farm would receive 40 cake per block. This amount is already included in all APR or annual percentage return calculations, and that's what this annual percentage return calculation, 46.7% on this one. Very cool. So that's how you do it, folks. You connect your wallet. If you've got LP tokens that you got received after putting funds in the liquidity pool, you can then start earning these sweet cake rewards. Nice. So very cool. It's got cake to earn here, 0. Obviously, that's the case. So boom, you can get out of there. Of course, there's all these other peers on here. BUSD, so stable coin on Binance Smart Chain and BNB, 27% APY there. There's $457 million hooked into there. Obviously, with the stable coin, gives you a bit more stability around that. And you've got lots of other tokens. Look at them all. And all different type of returns. And of course, there's a risk return trade-off there. So you got to take that into account with the underlying projects in the general crypto market. Also, don't forget Hart's law, the reflexivity, that is connected. All cryptos are connected. Whereas Hex, for example, is 85% stable coin in there. So that gives you some resistance to the market as well, with only 15% in ETH there. So very cool. The only offset, as I always say, is if the rest of the crypto market dropped and then all the Hexkins were up in the USD dollars, some of them might start selling that to buy all the cheap cryptos. That's the only offset from that argument, but otherwise it fits pretty well. So that's how the farms work. Also, PancakeSwap has pools, syrup pools they call them. And of course, these not to do so much with the liquidity, but actually locking up tokens, particular tokens. And of course, you got these here, IFO cake there, auto cake, automatic restaking, manual cake, cake, stake cake. So you got a couple of different options here, and you can see some of the amount of cake that put in there. All you have to do is put in the actual token, the C token info there. So if you had some cake in your wallet, and you can obviously buy that through the exchange, or you could have earned it from through yield farming or something like that, then you can end up putting in these pools, getting a 66.83% return for this one, 66.89, 52%, and obviously different for different tokens that they have there. Very cool, and you can start earning that too with cake profit. So you can see quite a bit of value in here. So you can see how there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds billions of dollars of value locked in here. And as we saw, that's pretty impressive. Now, they do have other things on here, of course. They have trading competitions, they have prediction betas, lotteries. This lottery is basically deflationary. So basically it's gambling, and you can actually win pretty big on that. But of course, a certain amount of tokens are burned from there. So if we actually go into the lottery, you can see it's got some pretty attractive prizes in there, of course. And you can connect your wallet and get in there. You've got to have the right numbers and in the rounds, but they're pretty cool. It's got lots of stuff, but this is really gambling, and so we're all about the getting that value and capturing that value, especially during all the right times. So this is really back to gambling. But this actually, a lot of people do participate. There's always a big amount that like this sort of stuff, and they try to get, if they do win, of course, they get a big reward, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, pretty much. So at the moment, prize pot 77,000, 6,425 cake, which is $12 a cake at the moment. So that's draw number 340. So there is deflationary stuff on here. Be interesting to see the stuff on PulseX. It'll be interesting to see what we've got there for sure. All right, so that's stuff happening there. We've got the prediction beta, and there got NFTs, of course. Part of the rewards, if you go to the lotteries and stuff, you can get NFTs, and of course you can go and do collections in there, and buy and sell NFTs and stuff like that, cash it in for a cake and stuff like that. So there's lots of different things going on here as well. They also have launches, I believe, on here as well. So your IFOs, so the IFOs there pretty much launches as well. So you've got all these basic sales. They've got 2 sales at the moment. Here have DPT, etc. So it'll be interesting to see with these extra features how they play into PulseX as well when it launches. So lots of extra stuff there. So pretty much that's pretty much an introduction to yield farming and pools, and also the fact that PulseX is going to be a fork of PancakeSwap, and so just give you an idea, conceptual idea of the value. So pretty cool. I just want to finish back on the actual numbers here. You can see 2.8 million users in the last 30 days. Can you imagine? Now, I'm not sure how they define that, of course, but can you imagine that on a bigger scale on PulseChain and PulseX? I mean, it's just mind-boggling, because obviously the system state copy of Ethereum is the biggest out there. I mean, it's pretty much before the boom market, it pretty much had 85% of the smart contracts running on there, and obviously the biggest pain has been the ETH fees, the failed transactions, and some of that downside from there. Otherwise, and of course, that's been caused by the boom in NFTs and the boom in trading and Uniswap 2 version 2 and 3. So interesting stuff there. 31 million trades in the last 30 days. Can you imagine how many trades are going to be on PulseX? Can you imagine? Mind-blowing on Uniswap front end. Pretty crazy. 12 billion staked, folks. I mean, can you imagine how much capital is going to be attracted to this on the stake thing there? It really is pretty exciting. So I think there's plenty to get excited about. I hope you guys enjoyed that brief coverage there. Let's jump over to the 555 this workshop. And this is going on in Florida at the moment. They've been going all over America, Atlanta and all sorts of places, and now they're going to come out to Florida, which they're probably pretty happy, because obviously North America's moved into sort of winter time, and of course Florida's still relatively warm, so they're probably pretty happy to be down there. In fact, it's probably pretty hot still. I'm not sure what the temperature is, but it's down near the equator, I guess, is the way. So meet us in Miami. Crypto Spa Book. I don't know if you've seen him. He is an amazing guy. From Europe somewhere, maybe Norway or somewhere. Let me know in the chat where he's actually from, but pretty cool. US road trip on the way to $7. So that's their big price tag, $7, folks, for Hex. And that's pretty awesome as well. So pretty cool. Route 5555. I like that instead of Route 66, Route 5555. And that's pretty nice. So 555 workshop, join this free event and learn to be your own bank. Now, if you haven't watched any of these online, definitely go check them out. Because they present Hex and PulseChain, all that good stuff to new investors. So they go through, I'm not sure how long it is, maybe an hour or something. They go through all these different categories, like 4 different categories, and they just make people try and make them understand the awesomeness of what's happening in this ecosystem. So pretty cool. Join us free event and learn, be your own bank. Learn about the #1 fast growing cryptocurrency. You can win free Hex and many other surprises. December the 29th, this one's on. And of course, they've also got this yacht, I think it was today or tomorrow, they got this big yacht thing with Hex OGs getting on there. They had like 13, I think, getting on there. So that's going to be pretty cool. Hope we see some videos about that. That's pretty special. But this workshop is 5 to 6 p.m. social hour, 6 to 8 p.m. workshop. So it is up to 2 hours on the workshop, and they have Q&A afterwards, and they can talk for quite a bit on that. They're pretty nice. Titanic Brewery and Restaurant, and that's at Coral Gables in Florida there. So very nice. And it's going to be, if you want details, freedomtv.info, and that's where you can get more details there. Very cool, and this looks really exciting for a free event there. So they're pretty awesome. Hats off to them. They are spreading the words about Hex, PulseChain, PulseX all around the United States, and both of them are from Europe, and I think most of their team are from Europe. I think they have 1 or 2 members possibly from the United States there, so that's about it. Must say, if not as many Hexicans as possible make it to this, I might be a little disappointed, says Chloe. And I think Chloe's actually in the team there, and she's from the United States, I believe. Why will I be disappointed? This city is the bullseye and gold mine we need to dominate. So because obviously crypto is pretty big in Miami, so we need a Hex army here to take over the city. Hashtag operate on board millions. So very cool to see that, and big shout out. I wanted to point that out because I thought that was pretty amazing as well. Hey, the chat's got pretty quiet there. I'm not sure. Hopefully everything's still running all right there. Very cool. Let me have a look there. All right, cool. All right, so I think the stream's going okay. Yeah, cool. All right, so I thought the comments had stopped, so there. All right, so we're moving on to the next one, and of course here's the NFL. So we're getting NFL players. Oh my goodness! I mean, this is the biggest sport in America, just about. I think so. NFL, and maybe basketball too is pretty big, but. We've got Keelan Doss from NFL, Hex hashtag 555, and that's awesome. He's got 15,000 followers. Very cool. And Richard says, I'm seeing more and more NFL players. This is the reach that Hex is getting. And you can imagine PulseChain and PulseX really is going to be huge. Obviously, with the Ethereum system stake copy, it's mind-blowing. Really is cool. So there's one there, Keelan Doss, and there's another one here, Alex Backman, or Buckman, I guess you say it. Born to make mistakes, not to fake perfection. Wake Forest University Giants. So pretty cool. He's got 2,700 followers. A nice picture there. So very cool. And then we've got another one here. We've got Justice Hill, and it's got little it looks like little hex eyes or something. Can't quite make that out, my eyesight, but that's pretty amazing on there. And of course, 555 Club Hex, very cool. 50,700 followers, pretty cool. So Baltimore there. So pretty cool seeing this. Obviously, once they spread the word, folks, and these guys typically earn some pretty big contract money. And so once they spread it amongst all the teams, hey, did you hear about Hex? You hear about PulseChain? You can see it it's like a wildfire, just fans the flames. Really is pretty neat to see that. Crypto by Night says, we're here. Hey, good to see you in the house. Yeah, this was I thought the chat got a bit quiet there, but very cool. And just hanging on every word, says Crypto by Night. And DHex says, yeah, watch that one on Crypto Heartbeat. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Crypto Heartbeat's done a lot of good interviews, so big shout out to Crypto Heartbeat out there doing some really cool stuff. And Brownie says, got to go. Awesome content again. You're the best. We'll kick back later as I watch the rest. Hey, Brownie, all the best to you. Enjoy yourself. And Hungarian Hexkin in Thailand. Woohoo! Just started listening because I've been busy today. You're doing a great job, mate. Hey, I appreciate that. And a big shout out to those in Thailand as well. Hope you're enjoying yourself out there. All right, so that is pretty cool. So we've got the 552 workshop at Miami, the big crypto place. They have lots of crypto conferences there, so very cool. Going to onboard as many people there as they can. And of course, we've got the NFL players obviously spreading a word around their community. So awesome. And that's likely to grow. Very cool. Now, we've talked a lot about Kinetics and Wales and Cabana Crypto and their team setting up these hex scale BT grayscale type of trusts that they're trying to launch before the end of December. And of course, they're going to be a big whale buyer and consistent buyer. They're just going to grow. And of course, they're going to stake all this stuff for 5,505 days and max that period out there. And of course, people are going to be able to trade into or out of that trust via shares, just like they do with the Grayscale. And obviously, Grayscale is pretty much the number one holder of BTC outside of maybe Satoshi and stuff like that. So pretty amazing. So pretty awesome. So Richard actually tweeted out, this is actually related to this, so related to it, but not the same as I understand it. So do you know any accredited investor that wants to get exposure to cryptocurrency. So it's really around about managing people's crypto positions, getting them on consulting, doing taxation, all that sort of stuff. I know some very, very good Hexkins with a fully licensed investment fund in the USA. Direct message me if you want their email. And he goes, I'm not publicly posting it. You need to DM me. I don't want them getting spammed. Accredited investors only. So you have to be an accredited investor. So typically you have to fill out certain requirements to get yourself registered as an accredited investor. But here is the site. So Mountain Crypto Advisors. So I will post this in the chat just in case you want to check this out. Bam, here we go. So check that out. And Jeremiah Mosen says provide a link for a conference. So that conference is on Richard's one. Let me just let me pull that up there. I'll post the link to the tweet there, VR. So that's for you. And there's the VR link there from Richard. So cool. So there is that link that you want. You can check that out. And Rusty VR says, I need to put notifications on this channel. I'm very late. Hey, Rusty, good idea. Let's hit the bell, folks, if you want those notifications as well. And there is, of course, Mountain Crypto Advisors. Now, this is related. So Kinetics and their team are doing a couple of projects, I understand it. They're also doing, they're going to be talking about a lot more about, I think coming in the coming week, they're going to start revealing some of the stuff they're actually working on. But we already know they're doing the Hex scale type of trust. It's not the final name, but that kind of thing. They're going to have a private trust. They can hit the private targets. They've got $1 billion distribution network with fund managers that can actually make decisions and invest directly without too much consulting with the clients. They've got going to have potentially have a separate public trust or shift that private trust, I think, to a public trust, launch it possibly on NASDAQ, something like that. That will open it up for people to do IRAs, investments, their retirement investments, for institutions to come in and buy shares into the trust and put money in. That money will go stake 5555. So you can see huge whale buying demand coming from that alone. And that's not talking about many of the other whales we've often talked about on this channel that are slowly just putting their toes in, like Kiyosaki and other stuff, as we understand it. We also know that Funding Jim was going to talk to at least a couple of billionaires before the Christmas time or end of the year. So Funding Jim's doing a lot of that big workload out there, getting the big money into the space, introducing them. And obviously, once you get one billionaire in, they tell their billionaire friends, and away you go. And it's not just billionaires, of course, people with hundreds of millions of dollars are out there too, many of those. So it is pretty exciting to see this all just growing. And we know that the supply is slowly decreasing as we enter 2022. And of course, so you can see that 2022 is looking amazing for Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. It's just mind-boggling, actually. And of course, Richard wants to dominate the space, and everything seems to be playing out perfectly well for that. And obviously, PulseX is also going to do a sacrifice of Hex, making less Hex on the market on both Ethereum and on PulseChain. That looks like the total outcome, because obviously circulating supply is the #1 thing. Getting that down, getting the demand up, and if the price starts just going parabolic and through more parabolic cycles, more economic energy comes in, obviously with the institutions, the whales, and the retail virality, which are the big three things you want to build on. And that's happening. We see that happening. So it's pretty exciting. All right, so that's that, and let's jump back over there. So this was pretty cool, and you can see the trust here. Now, the website is normally up. The website was up yesterday, but it is under maintenance at the moment. Check back in 19 hours. So it's going to be interesting. They may be doing quite a big update on here, potentially. So we'll look forward to seeing that at the moment. Very cool. All right, Hex. So I got that in there. We've got DHEX. Kinsey starts buying Hex now, guys. Price is gonna go. What's it on fire? Something absolute world. Not financial advices. Yeah, I'm not. No financial advice on this channel. Just infotainment. So just take that into account. Dr. said we need institutions getting into Hex. Yeah, well, it looks like people like Funding Jim, Kinetics team, many others out there, are doing that, spreading the word. So it is really exciting. Dr. says Goldman Sachs. Yeah, Goldman Sachs probably. I mean, Goldman Sachs is a double-edged sword. Those guys are double-edged swords, but yeah, could definitely have that. Oran's in the house. Let me just jump out. I've got to delete that. Let me get there. Let me get rid of that one. Bam. All right. Nice. All right. So there. Bye-bye. All right. So bye-bye that. Sorry. Anyway, so they're very cool. Let's get into here. So that's what's coming up there. It's pretty nice. Now let's check out the PulseChain timeline with PulseX and that. So our airplane is still up here. Was going to actually have to fly down a little bit, but the price has recovered. We are at 24.85 cents. Oh my gosh, we're pumping. Look at this. Woohoo! Man, oh man. Clap yourself. I mean, cheers, everybody. Cheers, cheers, cheers. I love the price bump. That's just beautiful. Look at that going in new high. we're going to get over that 25 cents, get up to the 28. We're going to stay in that range is my guess, and onwards and upwards. We've got to really attack that 25, get up, 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 and once we get that 28 cents, it's going to be awesome. So I'm excited about that. Look at that, live on the channel. Very, very cool. And of course, our live streams have been pretty good. It's pretty green most days. I think it's only one day we had a little bit of a red thing, but most days being pretty green. So it's really great to do that at the moment. So very nice. All right, so very cool on the price chart. That's the hourly there at the moment. And we've got a nice volume candle in there too. So I'm not sure what that is. Just on version 3 pair, of course. It's not the other pair. So we're almost back at 25 cents. And what do we have here? We had a couple of people selling into it here, but there is a big buy there. Look at that, 771,000 just on the V3 pair. So typically, if they're using, matcher or 1 inch or something like that, they could have gone through all the pools and bought on all the pools. So this could be a much bigger buy. We could see that on the Hex whale bot, of course. I don't have that up at the moment, but we could see that on there. So that was the big buy, and we had another $500,000 back here as well. And that was only about half an hour ago too. So 2 big buys there for sure. We get a couple of little sells here. Well, that's pretty decent, but mostly 2 big buys in there, really pushing this price up. So looks like some bigger wallets are at play now. They see the price structure and they're helping it along. Just as I said, I did ask them. I said, come on, let's get some whales in here and let's get that moving. So it looks like we are getting some bigger money coming in here at this stage. So very cool. Crypto One Night says Coinbase just published an article on how to buy Hex. Got to help exposure to a wider market. Yeah. So hey, this is the other thing with Coinbase, right? So remember when we did the PulseChain Sacrifice in the Sense Foundation, and they got all that USDC stuff selling for USDC. That was going through Coinbase. I still expect that we have a good chance of some good news coming out of Coinbase for Hex. So we've got to keep our eyes on the ground, or keep our ears on the ground for that. Eyes on the ground, ears on the ground for that, because I think Coinbase could offer us something really, really cool in that space. So we'll keep track of that. That'd be a big Pumpamentals for Hex as well. And I really still feel something's going to come out of Coinbase around that. So pretty cool. All right, so I already said the plane is flying up, and I'm going to move it a little bit higher. We're pretty cool. Now here we are on the 20th on the PulseChain, the testnet 2.0. We've got the Uniswap front end out, the PulseX, of course, that's all going to be gradually released on the PulseChain testnet 2.0, but some of it may end up being on PulseChain 3. We've got the bridge, of course. All of this stuff is pretty much complete. They're probably doing tweaks here and there, testing and stuff like that, but that's pretty much all done. Richard's told us that in previous videos, and so that's pretty exciting. And that's since for the last month he's been telling it, since the beginning of December, I should say, telling us that. So very cool. Now PulseChain testnet 3.0. This is definitely looks like something that's a real possibility. And he said, yes, there will be another testnet with balances written an AMM bot run, which one would expect that to do that, to test that run. So that's the 16th of December, he said that, so it's 4 days ago. So that's definitely play. I'm not quite sure where to put that in the timeline at the moment. We just don't know how long testnet 2.0 is going to run, but here we are at the moment. We're just almost basically here at the moment, and so that's why our launch for PulseChain at the very earliest date is the 15th now, and PulseX. So the sacrifice has to run. That's why I said if it's going to be shorter than 19 days, that's pretty important, because otherwise it would have to start the 27th and run through. But then you've got need time for calibration of points and stuff like that. So this very well may be pushed out further into January, possibly even early February. So we just have to be practical about that, because we want all the stuff to be ticked off, and so we have a very smooth technological launch on the launch day. It's much better to have another week or two added on than to risk anything. But obviously they know what they're doing, and they're going to launch that well. Obviously Hex has run super well, so we can be pretty positive about that. Very, very cool. Now all that stuff's running, of course. Uniswap front end, you can play around with that. I've done videos on that. The validators is running. I've done videos on that, how to get into stake with a validator. I think I've got 3 test pulse stuck with a validator at the moment, and yeah, that's going on. Obviously PulseChain testnet's running along. It's been doing 3-second blocks most of the time. So yeah, it looks pretty good. There's been a lot of projects we'll be testing on there that we're not even aware of, so that's going to be pretty cool. We do know that there were hundreds of nodes on, what was it, 500 nodes, 600 nodes at least on testnet 1. So I imagine that's also the case on testnet 2, and lots of projects testing their codes and stuff like that, getting ready. I know TrustSwap's probably doing that in other places. So it's pretty exciting to see a lot of those early adopters, and a lot of those tokens will probably end up being valued quite a lot too, and when PulseChain launches as well. So very exciting there. So also HexScale, of course, we've talked a little bit about that. This is kind of one of their partners here that's involved. Connects is involved with this. It's got other people that are not not in that direct team. So he's running a couple of projects, all with the idea of expanding the value offering there and introducing people to Hex and PulseChain and stuff like that. So very, very bullish. We're looking forward to this. This is a big buyer, and it's going to keep buying in addition to everything else that's going on. So very exciting to see that. All right, so that's looking cool, and we are just in along, man. This price is just loving it. Let's get back into the price here, and we're just, how we're doing, an hour and 5 minutes. So we're going to keep going for another 15 minutes. We're going to check this price out and just sit back and relax. And I'm going to get into the comments, folks. And we've got the hourly chart here, just enjoying this live. Very, very cool. We're going to scroll that up actually, and let's move that down a little bit there. That's very cool. So that's our action at the moment. Let's enjoy that. Let me get into the comments here. RuneSky says, whoa, yeah, the price is looking good. Just right, the live stream too. It's great. That green candle keeps going up. Damn. I love it, yeah. And Hex is the way. Dr. Serge, no need for large institutions yet. Would be great for the little guys to get in and get freedom without Wall Street manipulation. That's true. Hex is the way. I know that Richard's also talked about margin trading, stuff like that coming up. So that's definitely in play. So don't forget that obviously we've got the next big thing is the PulseChain, the PulseX sacrifice, the PulseChain announcement, the fork date, and of course and then the actual launch of PulseChain, obviously with the biggest airdrop in history, biggest yield farming, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be crazy good. But there's a lot of other stuff coming up, as well. So coin racking sites for all the PRC20s got to come up. Stuff like that. A replacement for MetaMask is on Richard's roadmap. Cross-chain solutions as well. More bridges, of course, and update to the network stuff kind of come up. And stuff like that. So there's lots of stuff coming up. A stable coin, potentially Richard Hart stable coins, and of course his own exchange, which I think he's had possibly that's been a little setback on that, but he's still trying to get that through, as far as I know. And other aggregators, margin trading, lots more stuff. So you can see there's a lot of stuff coming up in 2022 and beyond. Richard's going to be full on and working for that for sure. DHexagon says, I hope we hit 50 cents by sacrifice for PulseX, says DXN. And Hex is the way, says, I'm buying more Hex for sacrifice. Yeah, well, like we said, we had our poll on the Hex token channel, and it was about 53%. People said that they had liquid Hex, basically all they're going to buy it. That wasn't implied in the poll, but they said if you have liquid Hex, they're going to be sacrificing it for PulseChain. And it is a win-win, right? Even though you sacrifice the Hex, you're not going to get your copy on PulseChain, but you're playing for the PulseX multiplier to outdo that, and potentially you could swap that back into Pulse or Hex. So people have to make decisions about that. But as I pointed out, we're talking about potentially billions and billions and billions of dollars running into these, potentially tens of billions running into these the PulseX. So it's going to be pretty interesting to watch that. DHexagon says, yeah, buying tomorrow. And Hungarian Hexagon in Thailand says, better to be late and run smoothly. That's absolutely right, Hungarian. Better to do that. And Ahmed says, it's only about belief. Believe, yeah. It's only about belief or believe. That's true. Very cool, Ahmed. And so there we are. Look at that. Beautiful. Woohoo! Almost back at 25 cents. And, of course, we were there earlier today. This was the snapshot that we had was around that time at the time. It was at 212. So it was around this time here when we had the snapshot when I did my daily vid there. And of course we came down after that, after did the video, and of course we were down a bit. Let's actually get the rule out here. And so when we reached the 25 cents last time, which is at the top here, we came down. Well, we traced about 8%, and now we're back up. Man, looking good. We've got a nice uptrend angle here, looking good. And we've got some nice volume coming in just at the moment. So that's really exciting. Cheers, y'all. Cheers. So looking good on there. All right. Peter Lamb says, enjoying the stream. Hey, Peter, a pleasure. Welcome. And Raider says, do you receive PLS for PulseX sacrifice? You're going to receive PLX or PLX, depending on what the final final name it's going to have for that ticker name, I should say, ticker name. Runes Guy says, would be interesting if 23 cents becomes our floor next. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So let's imagine in the future that Hex is worth many dollars. And I said, once we get over $1, that's very psychological for institution level buying. And secondly, once we get into many dollars, every time we have a pullback like 60, 70, 80%, we're coming back to, generally speaking, to a higher level, higher price level. So generally speaking, if you've got a good project, which we have, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see that, instead of us fighting over 25 to 50 cents, which is, important at the moment, but in the future, if we scale this up, you're talking about, dollars here, $4, $7. What was the 5 club talking about $7? So you're up here, and it makes this look really small when you're up at the $5 mark. So something food for thought there when we have another pullback. So cool. I should have probably gone to the daily on the daily. Let me have a look on the daily there. Yeah, I've really ruined the chart there, but that's the daily. So if we actually pull this in, you can see how many parabolic rises we've had. All these different one over again. I think there's number 9 we're on at the moment, and you can see so number 10 will be even bigger. We go really high, but obviously with EHEX and PHEX, we're getting a bit like a stock split. So we're just we have to wait to see what value that's going to be. But I'm definitely expecting it to be way higher than the sum of the parts or whatever. Some of the parts will be way higher. So definitely in the case. All right, so let's get back to the hourly on there. I just wanted to show that idea of the price. Let me just scroll that up, and bam, I think this is looking better. That's looked better. I'll scroll that back. How about that? That's probably pretty good. All right, looking good there. And Wes says, thanks to you, I threw some money into Hex at 13. Not financial advice, going to sacrifice some and keep some for the copy over. Hey, Wes, that's pretty cool. Obviously not investment advice, financial advice, but yeah, definitely we were calling the bottom around that time. And I definitely, that's when I got in as well. So hats off to you, Wes, as well. So Rune Sky says, no, sir, we do not. PulseX, the token only. That's right. And Hex Turbo says this week we will break above 28. Yeah, I'm expecting that too. And once we're over 28, man, it's up and away. Great stream. Greetings from Germany. Hey, great to see you, Wally, from Germany. Very, very cool. Was it the Deutschland, if I'm saying it correctly? Very good. I think I did a little bit of German at school, high school. I did a little bit of German at high school. That's pretty cool. All right, so there we are, almost 25 cents. We're going pretty good here, folks, as well. And what else we got going on there? So yeah, just to do a bit of a recap, we basically went through Pulse leads and the sacrifice. That's what we're going to get something similar to that on pulsex.info and of course pulsex.com. Site, so pretty cool. We went through Richard Hart's tweets on all the gamification or tokenomics for, or not all of it, but a big part of it for the upcoming PulseX. We went through PancakeSwap, which PulseX is going to be a fork of, and looked at pool farming and yield farming and the returns and some of the deflationary token stuff like lotteries and stuff they have there. And then, of course, we went through the workshop 555 tour, which is on Miami, coming up on the 29th of December. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then we also looked at all the NFL players coming into space, just showing how widely Hex and PulseChain and PulseX are getting spread around the world. Really is starting to get some influences and shakers there. And obviously, we've got cool stuff coming out of the Kinetics team with this new Mountain Crypto Advisories. And of course, that's going to be pretty much medium to high-end, high-valued investors there. People with really serious money. I think the consultancy fee just for consultancy was $500, so that's kind of the place for there. So it's cool to see this all the stuff emerging, and hats off to the Kinetics team for all the stuff they're doing in that space. We look forward to more details from them in the next week or so for sure, and expect some launch of Hex Scale at least by the end of the year. Hopefully they're on target there. They'll want to be on target because the price is going up. Price is going up against them, and the cheaper they can get Hex and stake at 555, the better. And of course, they're going to get a copy on the Pulse chain. So they definitely want to get in the race. They've got to get a race before everyone else pushes the price up. So they'll be trying to get it out as soon as possible. It's in their own interest. So pretty cool on that. So that's a bit of a summary of what we talked about today. For those that may have missed it, or what, you can always go back to the beginning of the video, but that's cool. All right, so we're going to wrap up pretty shortly here as well. West DC's great stream. Very cool. We'll probably wrap up in about a minute and a half. It'll be an hour and a quarter, so it's pretty good. Normally I do about an hour and 20 but we'll probably wrap up in a couple of minutes. Very cool. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course. And yeah, it's good to see this price moving up, attacking that 25 to 28 cent range. Once it sort of gets in there, smash past it over 28, and we're up and away. We have beaten the downtrend, and we're on our way to the moon, that's for sure. Be interesting to see where the price goes from there. We've definitely got that PulseChain sacrifice period coming up. And if I put back on the structure there, move back to the daily, you can see, oh, I've got to change my chart though. Really messed that around. All right, so if we get this price, we've only got 6 days to the point where I think we're going to get the sacrifice start on the 27th. And even if I'm wrong about that date, we've only got to the 31st. So that's 10 days, maximum 10 days. So 10 days is definitely a longer time in crypto, but the trend is your friend here. Look at this. We've got this big wall. The price is going to smash up against there. And how high is it going to go? At the moment. So so far my weekly price predictions was from 8 days ago, is looking pretty good, but actually the chart's actually beating my prediction, because actually at a higher slope here at the moment, and front running the price chart. So we'll see how we get on there. So it is a general guide, of course, just general guide of where I thought it would go. Hungering says, what part of the land of the long white cloud are you streaming from? So streaming from good old New Zealand, Aotearoa. Don't want to give too much details about that Hungarian, but that's where I'm from. So good old Kiwi land, the land of the Lord of the Rings. So very nice. All right, so that's where we are. Look at this, 25 cents. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Smash! Look at that green candle. I'm loving it. And of course, this is the third one there. Look at that, 1, 2, big 3 thick, long candles. Loving that for sure. What a great time to finish the live stream on, I think, at the price. So it's probably going to keep going up. I bet you it's going to keep going up, trying to reach up to 28 cents. And hey, if you're going to think about selling out there, folks, you're going to lose your copy on the PulseChain. So less sellers and more buyers. That's what we want. So there we are. All right, that's about whoop, whoop. That just happened along the price there. So very nice. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it, folks. 25 cents is a good place to finish. It'll probably keep going up after the live stream. You know how it rolls. Let me get in here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I'm going to sign off now and grab myself some late dinner. It's pretty late here. And Radar says, cheers for the stream and thanks for your daily vids. Hey, no problem. It's a pleasure. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Let me just post in some stuff here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course. And also, if you want to join the channel membership, we've got PulseKins, Hexkins, and the Richard Hart Club. Get in there. We've already got 4 members, and a big shout out to them. SH256 is the latest member. Art, of course, is a member. Aspire is a member, and SKB was the first member. So big shout out to those 4. Very cool. All right, cheers, mate. Have a nice one. Says Rune Skies. So I'm going to play that out. So nice one. And Crypto by Night says have a good Kai, secret Kiwi. Yeah, Kai. So Kai means food. Kapai Kai means good food. So a big shout out to Crypto Night there. Very nice. All right, I better end the stream. Here we are, 1 hour and 16, 1 hour and 17 minutes. Not too bad. It's pretty close to my 1 hour 20 minutes I normally do. So it's pretty cool. All right, 25.1 cents. Let's just keep going up. And bye for now. Catch you tomorrow. And look forward to anyone watching after the live stream. Put your comments in there. I'll answer all the comments. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.